The alien girl's eyes widened as she hid behind the corner of the corridor. Her pointed ears twitched while her long tail brushed nervously against the metal wall. She had just heard the human males laughing together. Their words were strange, but the translator in her ear made them clear. One of them had said with a grin, "Of course we eat our females." The others laughed loudly, not a hint of shame in their voices. Her blood ran cold. Her people always warned her about humans, but she never believed the old stories. Now it seemed those stories were true. She whispered under her breath, "They eat their own females?" Her claws scratched lightly against the wall, the sound trembling like her heart. She tried to calm herself, but the image came again and again in her mind. Human males, bigger and stronger, sitting around a table while a helpless female screamed, their teeth tearing into her flesh. The thought made her chest feel tight and her legs weak. She could not believe it, yet she could not ignore what she heard. The human men walked past her, their boots heavy on the floor. She pressed herself flat against the wall, hiding in shadow. When they disappeared around the bend, she exhaled slowly, but her body was still shaking. Curiosity fought with fear inside her. She wanted to run back to her people, to warn them. But another voice inside whispered, "What if you are wrong? What if you need to see the truth with your own eyes?" Her tail flicked again. Against her better judgment, she decided to follow. The human they called Daniel separated from the group, heading toward the station's living quarters. His steps were relaxed, his hands in his pockets, his head tilted slightly as if he was humming. To the alien girl, this relaxed walk looked like the confident stride of a predator. He was going to his nest, she thought. Perhaps he had a female waiting there. She kept her distance, her bare feet making no sound on the metal floor. Each turn of the corridor made her heart beat faster. Her mind built terrible pictures. Maybe he would chain her, maybe he would cut her open, maybe he would eat her alive. Her people told her humans were monsters dressed in soft skin. At last, he entered a small chamber. The door slid shut, but did not lock. She crouched beside the wall, peering through the narrow crack before it closed completely. Inside, Daniel dropped his boots, sat on the edge of a soft bed, and laughed again. His communicator buzzed. A female voice came through. "You better not be late for dinner again," the voice teased. He grinned. "Don't worry. I wouldn't miss it. I love eating with you." The alien girl covered her mouth to stop a gasp. Eating with her? So it was true. He would eat her tonight. She could not stay away now. She had to see it. Her hands trembled as she moved closer to the door. She pressed her ear against the metal. She heard the sound of fabric rustling, water running, and then silence. He was preparing himself for the hunt, she thought. She backed away, her heart pounding against her ribs. Still, she did not flee. She crouched in the corner, waiting for him to leave. Time passed slowly. At last, Daniel stepped out, clean shirt over his broad shoulders, hair damp, his expression calm. He locked his room and started walking toward the dining level. The alien girl followed again, this time closer. Around her, other humans moved in groups, laughing, chatting, holding hands. Couples. She looked at them with horror. Did these females know what was about to happen to them? Were they willingly walking to their own doom? The dining hall doors opened. Warm smells spilled into the air. Roasted meat, baked bread, cooked spices. The alien girl's nostrils twitched. She had never smelled anything so rich, but her fear twisted it into something dark. The smell of death, she thought. The smell of flesh. Daniel walked inside and she slipped in behind him. She hid between two pillars, watching. He greeted a young human female, pulling her chair out for her. She sat down with a smile, not afraid at all. The girl's stomach tightened as she whispered to herself, "She doesn't know. She doesn't understand." Daniel placed food on the table. He cut the meat into pieces. The alien girl's hands dug into the pillar as she watched. He raised a piece to his mouth, teeth sinking in. She almost screamed. He swallowed, he chewed, smiled at the female. Then it happened. He picked up another piece and offered it to the female. The alien girl's heart nearly stopped. Her claws extended, ready to leap out and drag the female away. But the female only laughed and leaned forward, opening her mouth. She took the food, bit into it, and chewed happily. The alien girl's breath caught. Her world spun. Was this the proof? Was this how humans ate their females, slowly, piece by piece, smiling while they consumed them? She could not watch anymore, yet she could not turn away. Her misunderstanding grew heavier, darker. She was certain now. Humans were not just dangerous. They were monsters who made eating into an act of love, and she was trapped among them, the only one who saw the truth. Daniel noticed her long before she realized she had been seen. Her movements were too sharp, her eyes too wide, and her tail kept flicking in panic. She thought she was hidden in the shadows of the dining hall, but every time he glanced to the side, he caught the faint outline of her figure. At first, he ignored it, thinking she was just curious about the food. But when she stumbled forward, nearly tripping over herself, he finally turned and locked eyes with her. The alien girl froze. Her body stiffened like stone, but her heart thundered so loud she feared he could hear it. Daniel raised his brows, then gave her a small, disarming smile. To her, it looked like the grin of a predator who had just spotted his next prey. She stumbled back, her claws scraping the table as dishes rattled. "You," she hissed, her voice shaking. "Do you eat your females?" Conversations around them died in an instant. A few humans laughed nervously, thinking it was some kind of joke. Daniel blinked, confused, then chuckled. "What? No, of course not." Her eyes narrowed, her lips curling back. "I heard you. I heard your words. You said you eat them. Do not lie to me." Daniel scratched the back of his neck, suddenly aware that the entire room was listening. "That's not what I meant." He gestured to the plate of food. "We were joking. Eating is sharing a meal, not what you think." But she did not believe him. Her people warned her humans were clever liars, and now she saw the proof. They even twisted words to hide their true nature. She stepped closer, lowering her voice but keeping her claws ready. "Do you cut them into pieces first? Do you make them smile so they do not scream?" The humans at the nearby tables gasped. One man dropped his fork. Daniel leaned forward, his own voice calm but edged with disbelief. "No one here eats anyone. We're just having dinner." Her tail lashed. "Lies. I saw you feed her with your hand. I saw her open her mouth." The female beside Daniel blushed, trying to cover her face. A few humans burst into laughter now, but Daniel felt a prickle of unease. The alien girl's fear was not an act. She truly believed every word she said. He took a slow breath and stood. "Look, if you think I'm lying, then come sit with me. Share the food. I'll show you what it means." Her throat tightened. An invitation? This was it. He was luring her into the ritual. He wanted to make her trust him first. She should run. Every instinct screamed for her to run, yet her legs betrayed her, dragging her closer. She wanted to see. She needed to know how far the humans would go. Daniel pulled out a chair for her. The gesture was strange, polite, but it only made her more suspicious. She sat stiffly, claws still out, eyes darting around the table. Daniel pushed the plate toward her, his voice light. "Go ahead. Try it. It's just food, nothing more." She looked down. The meat glistened with sauce. The bread was golden and soft. Her nostrils flared, catching the warm smell that made her stomach ache with unwanted hunger. Was this how they tricked females, by making the food irresistible? Daniel picked up his fork, stabbed a piece, and put it in his mouth. He chewed slowly, exaggerating every movement. Then he nodded at her. "See? It's fine." Her claws hovered over the plate, trembling. Her people said humans used poison, that they melted bones with chemicals. She imagined collapsing here, surrounded by predators who would laugh while she was eaten alive. Still, her hunger was stronger than her fear. She tore off a small piece of bread and pressed it to her lips. The flavor shocked her tongue. It was soft, warm, and sweet. Nothing in her world tasted like this. For a moment, her eyes widened with wonder. Then she pulled back, heart racing. Was this how it started? Did the sweetness cover the poison? Daniel leaned back in his chair, studying her carefully. Her reaction was not confusion, it was terror. He realized then that the misunderstanding was deeper than he thought. She truly believed humans were cannibals. And worse, she thought she was next. The alien girl pushed the plate away, her voice a whisper full of dread. "I know what you are doing. You want me to lower my guard, but I will not be your next meal." Daniel exhaled slowly, frustration building. Around them, laughter and whispers filled the room. But for him, the moment was deadly serious. If he didn't fix this, her fear could turn into something dangerous, maybe even violent. And she, still trembling, could not stop staring at his teeth every time he smiled. Daniel found her again later that evening, standing alone in the observation deck where the stars stretched like rivers of fire outside the glass. She kept her back straight, her tail stiff, but her hands were clenched so tightly that her claws almost broke her own skin. She didn't hear him approach at first. When she turned and saw him, her eyes flared wide. But she didn't run. She only glared. "You think I'm foolish," she said. "You think your lies are clever, but I will see the truth myself." Daniel crossed his arms. He was tired of the fear in her eyes, tired of the whispers in the dining hall. "Fine. Then see it. Tomorrow night, come with me. I'll show you what a human dinner really is." She narrowed her eyes, her tail curling tightly. "A trap. A meal," Daniel corrected. "If I wanted to hurt you, I could have done it already." His calm tone confused her. Predators usually revealed teeth, not patience. Still, her curiosity gnawed at her worse than fear. She needed to know, and if this was the way, then so be it. She gave a small nod, her voice sharp. "I will come, but if you try anything—" She lifted her claws, gleaming in the faint starlight. Daniel gave a dry smile. "If I try anything, you'll probably kill me before I finish chewing." The next evening, she walked into his quarters with stiff legs and her chin raised. Every detail felt like a warning. The soft lights, the table already set with plates, the warm smell of food drifting in the air, it all looked like a ritual chamber to her eyes. She scanned for ropes, chains, knives. There were none, just 2 chairs and steaming dishes. Daniel gestured toward the seat. "Sit." She hesitated, then lowered herself carefully, claws resting on her knees. He poured her a drink, a golden liquid that bubbled softly. She sniffed it suspiciously before taking a tiny sip. Her eyes widened. Sweet, cold, pleasant. No burning poison. Daniel watched her reaction closely, then cut a piece of meat and placed it on her plate. "This is roasted chicken. You don't have to eat it if you don't want to." Her stomach growled, betraying her. She flushed with embarrassment, and Daniel chuckled softly. To her, even his laughter carried danger, but it was lighter this time. She forced herself to take a small bite. The taste broke through her fear like sunlight through clouds. Rich, warm, smoky. Her mouth wanted more, even as her mind screamed no. She chewed slowly, suspicious of the pleasure crawling across her tongue. Her eyes darted to Daniel. He wasn't watching her hungrily, wasn't reaching for her throat. He was just eating his own food, relaxed, normal. She swallowed hard and whispered, "You do not eat me. You eat this?" Daniel blinked, then laughed louder, shaking his head. "Yes, exactly. We eat food, not each other. Sharing a meal is trust, connection." The alien girl frowned, struggling to understand. "But you said you eat females." Daniel smirked. "That was a joke, a bad one." Her lips pressed tightly, still unsure, yet something inside her began to loosen. She took another bite, then another, until she realized her plate was half empty. Daniel grinned at her obvious hunger, but she mistook it again. She tensed, clutching her fork like a weapon. "Easy," Daniel said softly. "No tricks, just dinner." She studied his face, the curve of his mouth, the softness in his eyes. For the first time, she doubted her people's warnings. Maybe humans were not monsters, but still her heart whispered that danger waited just beneath the surface, and she would not drop her guard completely. When she finally stood to leave, her belly was full, but her mind was a storm. She looked at him once more before the door slid shut. She whispered to herself, "If this is not the way they eat their females, then what way is it?" She could not sleep that night. Every sound in the corridor made her ears twitch. Every whisper of movement made her tail curl tighter. The taste of the human meal still lingered on her tongue, and it confused her more than anything. If it was only food, then why did they speak of eating females with laughter? Why did the human male's eyes soften every time he looked at her, as if there was another meaning hidden behind his words? The next day, she kept her distance, yet her eyes followed him wherever he went. She saw him laughing with other females, offering them small bites of food, watching them smile when they accepted. She wanted to scream at them to stop, to warn them, but none looked afraid, and none were harmed. They laughed with him, leaned closer to him, touched his arm, and every time her chest tightened with a strange fire she didn't understand. When evening came, he found her again. His voice was calm, steady, almost warm. "You're still not convinced, are you?" Her claws flexed. "You still hide something. I can feel it." Daniel thought for a moment, then held up a simple piece of fruit in his hand. He stepped closer, slowly, as though approaching a wild animal. "Then let's try this differently. I'll eat, then you eat. No games, no tricks, just this. She glared, but curiosity forced her to stay. He bit into the fruit, juice running down his chin. He grinned, then held the other half out to her. Her hand trembled as she took it, brushing his fingers by accident. The warmth of his skin shocked her more than the taste of the fruit. She pulled back quickly, but when she bit into it, sweetness burst across her mouth. She gasped, eyes widening. Daniel laughed softly. See? No harm, just sharing. Her breath came uneven, her heart pounding faster than before. Sharing, she repeated, the words strange on her tongue. You eat together, not each other? Exactly, Daniel said, his tone gentle. When we say things like that, it's a joke. It means something else, something about closeness, about love. Love. The word echoed inside her, heavier than any warning her people had given. She stared at him, his easy smile, his open hands, and felt the world twist under her feet. If he spoke truth, then she had misunderstood everything. Yet if he lied, then she was already caught in his snare. Her chest tightened again, but this time not with fear alone. She turned quickly and fled down the corridor, clutching the half-eaten fruit as though it held the answer to all her doubts. Behind her, Daniel watched with a small sigh. He knew she was close to understanding, but also close to breaking. One more wrong step, and her fear might turn to hatred, or something far more dangerous. She sat alone in the hydroponic gardens, the glow of alien plants casting green light over her face. The fruit she carried from his room still rested in her hands, half withered now, but she could not throw it away. Every time she looked at it, her chest filled with both fear and a strange warmth she did not want to name. Her people's voices echoed in her head. Humans will trick you. Humans will consume you. Humans will bind you with words first, then teeth. Yet none of what she saw matched those warnings. Daniel found her there. He did not approach right away. He stood quietly, watching her shoulders rise and fall with restless breath. When she finally looked up, her eyes flashed with suspicion. Why do you keep following me? Because you're scared of me, he said simply. And I want you to see you don't have to be. Her tail twitched, her claws scraping the stone bench. You think kindness will fool me, but my people taught me your kind eat to control, that you use food to bind females until they are too weak to resist. Daniel sighed and sat across from her, leaving space between them. That's not control, that's sharing. We cook, we sit together, we laugh, we eat. It's not about power, it's about being close. She tilted her head, eyes narrowing. Close how? Like family, like friends. Sometimes more. His voice grew softer, like love. Her heart thudded harder. That word again. She had no defense against it. Love, she repeated, uncertain, almost whispering. You mean not hunger, not meat, but choosing someone? Daniel smiled faintly. Yes, choosing them, protecting them, caring for them. Eating together is one way we show it. Her claws retracted slowly. She looked down at the fruit in her hands. All this time she thought it was a weapon, a trick. But could it be a gift, a sign of something deeper? Her chest tightened with confusion. She felt foolish, but also curious, dangerously curious. Then why? She asked slowly. Did you tell the others you eat your females? Daniel chuckled, shaking his head. Because humans joke, sometimes badly. It makes us laugh, but I didn't realize you were listening. She gritted her teeth, torn between anger and relief. She wanted to believe him. She almost did. But trust was not easy. Not when her people had painted humans as monsters her whole life. Daniel leaned forward slightly, lowering his voice. Stay with me tomorrow. Don't hide. Watch how we eat, how we talk, how we live. See it yourself. Then decide if you still believe we're predators. The garden lights dimmed as the station shifted to night mode. Her ears twitched at the sudden quiet. She should have refused, should have walked away. But instead, she clutched the fruit tighter and gave a small nod. Her whisper was barely audible. If you lie, I will tear you apart. Daniel didn't flinch. He only smiled softly. Fair enough. As he walked away, her gaze followed him. For the first time, her fear did not drown the other feeling growing inside her, something far more dangerous than claws or teeth. The alarms cut through the quiet night of the station, red lights flashing against the metal walls. She jolted awake in her small quarters, ears twitching, tail coiling in alarm. Outside, shouts echoed, boots pounded the floor, and the distant thrum of weapons charging filled the air. She rushed to the door and pulled it open, only to see humans running past with urgency. And at the center of it, Daniel. Calm but determined. giving orders as if danger was nothing new to him. Her chest tightened. Was this the moment her people warned her about? Had the humans finally decided to turn their violence toward others? She followed, silent in the chaos, until she reached the docking bay. There she froze. Members of her own clan stood at the entrance, weapons raised, eyes locked on Daniel. "Step away from her," the tallest of them growled, spotting her behind him. "You may have fooled her, but you will not keep her." Her claws dug into her palms. They had come for her, not to protect, but to claim. Daniel glanced back at her, his expression shifting as realization hit. "They think I hurt you," the leader snarled. "Humans devour females. You will not take one of ours." Gasps filled the bay as the word spread. Some humans stiffened, offended, others laughed nervously. But Daniel did not laugh. He stood tall, his voice calm and even. "I haven't harmed her. I never would. You're wrong." The alien soldiers didn't listen. They stepped forward, ready to fire. She trembled, her heart tearing between fear of humans and fear of her own kin. All her life, she believed humans were the predators, yet here were her people, teeth bared, aiming to kill before asking truth. Daniel's hand moved, not for a weapon, but in front of her, shielding her with his own body. She gasped. "What are you doing?" "Protecting you," he said firmly. Her mind spun. He was unarmed, outnumbered, and yet he stood there, defiant. If he truly saw her as food, why would he risk himself like this? Why shield prey? The clan leader sneered, raising his weapon higher. "Move aside, human." "No," Daniel said. The word was quiet but heavy, and it shook her more than the blaring alarms. She stared at his back, strong and steady, and in that moment the fear that had lived in her chest since the first misunderstanding began to crack. Her claws slid back into her hands. She stepped forward, Dak finally placing herself beside him. Her voice trembled, but it carried through the bay. "He has not harmed me. He has given me food, not chains. He has shared, not consumed." The soldiers hesitated. Their eyes flicked between her and the human male standing unflinching before them. For the first time, doubt rippled through them. And in that silence, she realized something terrifying and wonderful at once. Her fear of Daniel had turned into something else entirely. Something she could not yet admit, even to herself. The bay was silent except for the hum of weapons still charged. Her people stood frozen, their eyes locked on her. She had never spoken against them before, never dared, yet the words spilled from her like fire. "You are wrong. Humans do not eat their females. They do something you do not understand. They protect them." The leader's eyes narrowed, but uncertainty clouded his rage. "He tricked you. It is in their nature to consume." Her chest rose and fell quickly, her claws curling, but her voice did not break. "If that were true, I would already be gone. Yet I stand here." She turned slightly, her gaze brushing Daniel's calm face. "He shields me with his life, though he owes me nothing. Does that sound like hunger?" The soldiers shifted uneasily. One lowered his weapon, then another. The leader snarled, but could no longer deny the cracks in his certainty. Finally, with a frustrated hiss, he motioned for his warriors to stand down. "If you stay with him, your blood is not ours anymore. Remember that." They retreated, leaving her in the middle of the bay with Daniel still standing between her and the danger. The alarms quieted, the red glow fading. She looked at him, and for the first time her fear was gone. "Why?" she whispered. "Because that's what we do," he said softly. "We don't eat the ones we care about. We protect them. We choose them." Her throat tightened at his words. She thought of the jokes she had overheard, of the laughter she mistook for cruelty. She thought of the food he had shared, the fruit she still carried, the way he placed himself between her and death. Slowly, she understood. The humans didn't eat their females with teeth. They ate them with closeness, with love, with a hunger that wasn't for flesh, but for connection. Her tail curled around her legs, her eyes lowering before rising to meet his again. "Then, when you say you eat, you mean you want them close, forever?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Exactly." Heat spread across her face, a strange mix of relief and something more dangerous. She stepped closer, her voice trembling but steady enough to be heard. "Then maybe I do not fear being eaten anymore." The words hung heavy in the air, sharper than any weapon, and Daniel's eyes widened at her confession. For her, it was not surrender, it was choice. A choice born not from fear, but from trust. The misunderstanding that once nearly destroyed them had bound them together instead, and she knew her life would never be the same again.